The radar contact appears suddenly on the USS Higgins' scopes. A single Chinese-type 052D destroyer closes from the northwest at high speed. Bridge officers watch the range decrease 6 nautical miles. 5, 4. The VHF radio breaks the silence. American warship. This is PLA Navy vessel. You are approaching Chinese sovereign waters. Alter course immediately or bear responsibility for consequences. The captain stands motionless, eyes fixed on the horizon, where the gray silhouette grows larger against the gray sea. This encounter takes place in the South China Sea on August 13, 1200 hours local time, near Scarborough Shoal. The shoal is a ring of reefs and rocks claimed by China, the Philippines, and Taiwan, though China has maintained continuous presence since 2012. The USS Higgins, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, is executing a routine freedom of navigation operation, FONOC, to challenge China's assertion of historic rights over waters far beyond its 12 nautical mile territorial sea. These patrols are not new. The United States has conducted dozens since 2015 to affirm that the South China Sea remains international waters under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. The incident occurs against a backdrop of heightened friction. 2 days earlier, Chinese Coast Guard and militia vessels rammed a Philippine resupply boat near 2nd Thomas Shoal, injuring crew members. The stakes are not abstract. Roughly 1/3 of global maritime trade passes through these waters. The Chinese destroyer matches the Higgins' course and speed at 18 knots, positioning itself on the American ship's starboard bow in a classic shadowing formation. U.S. radar operators confirm the contact's identification, hull number 121, equipped with the Type 346A active electronically scanned array radar capable of simultaneously tracking multiple surface and air targets. No fire control radar lock is detected, but electronic surveillance measures indicate the Chinese ship is actively collecting emissions from the Higgins. The American captain orders conditions Zebra set watertight integrity, tightened in weapons systems brought to ready status without arming. SM-2 surface-to-air missiles remain on rails. The Phalanx close-in weapon system spins up briefly for test. On the Chinese side, parallel preparations are assumed based on standard PLA Navy doctrine. Radio warnings continue at 5-minute intervals. The Higgins replies each time with the same measured statement. This is USS Higgins. We are exercising navigational rights and freedoms in international waters in accordance with international law. The range drops to 3 nautical miles. Collision avoidance rules under Colorgis now apply with real urgency. For the next 12 minutes, the two ships steam in near-perfect formation. No further radio traffic. No sudden course change. Overhead, the Aegis combat system begins tracking 2 fast-moving air contacts departing from Hainan Island, likely J-11 fighters. The fighters remain beyond visual range for now. On the Higgins Bridge, the navigator recalculates time to the closest point of approach to the shoal itself. Crew members exchange glances but maintain discipline. Everyone understands that the next move could shift this from routine tension to something far more serious. Scarborough Shoal forms an irregular atoll approximately 15 nautical miles across, with drying rocks and shallow lagoons inside. The Higgins approaches from the southeast on a northwesterly course, initially remaining outside the 12 nautical mile limit before gradually closing to assert high seas freedom of navigation. The ship's AIN SPY-1DV radar provides continuous 360-degree coverage out to approximately 200 nautical miles for air targets and shorter ranges for surface contacts. Data fuses into the Aegis baseline system, allowing real-time threat evaluation. The Chinese destroyer employs a similar capability with its Type 346 radar suite. Both vessels maintain precise station keeping to avoid violating rules of the road while still demonstrating presence. The objective is clear: complete the transit without physical contact or use of force, yet leave no ambiguity about the rite of passage. In the dimly lit Combat Information Center, the captain reviews the tactical picture with the tactical action officer and executive officer. The decision tree is narrow. Turn away early, and the operation fails its purpose. Press forward and risk a deliberate blocking maneuver, or worse, confirm our exact distance to the baseline. The captain orders. 11.7 nautical miles to the nearest drawing feature, sir. Still international waters. Reports flow up the chain to 7th Fleet headquarters in Yokosuka. The admiral's guidance arrives quickly. Continue as planned. De-escalate where possible, but do not yield. The weight of that instruction settles on every shoulder. A single wrong helm order could trigger a chain of events no one wants. Overhead satellite tasking provides fresh imagery. A second Chinese Coast Guard vessel, a Type 818 Corvette-sized cutter, is holding station 22 nautical miles to the east-northeast. Its presence suggests possible coordination. The Higgins adjusts course 5 degrees to port, opening the buffer zone slightly while preserving the intended track around the shoal. The fighters now appear on scope at 48 nautical miles, closing at 480 knots, altitude 25,000 feet. They make no radio call. The Higgins bridge team tracks their every maneuver. General quarters is sounded quietly, no klaxon, only voice announcement. Damage control parties quietly move to stations. The question hangs unspoken. Will the aircraft descend for a low-level pass, or is this merely posturing? Rules of engagement remain restrictive. Force authorized only in self-defense against imminent threat of death or serious injury. The Higgins maintains electronic countermeasures active against potential jamming. Navigation remains GPS primary with inertial backup. The patrol track is a simple oval circuit around the shoal, designed to demonstrate that prior notification or permission is not required for innocent passage through claimed but internationally disputed waters. A young lieutenant speaks quietly to the captain. "Sir, after the ramming 2 days ago, they may be looking for any excuse." The captain nods once. "We stay predictable. Predictable is safe. The uncertainty is palpable. Chinese intent is impossible to read with certainty. Is this a political signal for domestic consumption or preparation for something kinetic?" Allied reporting confirms. 2 J-11 fighters airborne, each carrying 4 PL-12 beyond visual range missiles and 2 PL-28 short-range missiles. They are not conducting routine training. The fighters continue inbound. At 30 nautical miles, the fighters begin descent. One aircraft levels at 500 feet and crosses directly ahead of the Higgins bow at 400 knots. The sonic boom rolls across the deck. Jet wash disturbs the sea surface. No weapons lock detected, but the message is unmistakable. The second fighter circles wide. Higgins maintains course and speed. The captain's voice is level. "Log the intercept. Continue the evolution." Chinese radio returns with a sharper tone. "U.S. vessel, you are provoking instability in Chinese waters. Withdraw immediately." No reply is sent. The fighters depart to the north after 2 orbits. Temporary calm returns, but the shadowing destroyer edges closer now, 1.8 nautical miles on the beam. Its bow wave begins to lap against the Higgins hull. Blocking posture as possible. The bridge wing lookouts strain to see any unusual movement on the Chinese deck. The Higgins begins a gentle zigzag pattern, standard procedure to complicate fire control solutions while preserving overall track. The Chinese ship mirrors every turn. Electronic support measures detect low-level jamming attempts on navigation bands. These are quickly countered. The operation remains fully within established patterns of conduct for FONAPs in the region. The captain confers again with key officers. If they attempt to cross our bow and force collision, what are our maneuvering options? Evasive turn to starboard is briefed along with immediate report to higher headquarters. Probability of deliberate ramming is assessed as low, but the consequence is catastrophic. Possible loss of life, diplomatic rupture, treaty activation with the Philippines. From open source and allied reporting, PLA Southern Theater Command is following the event in real time from Hainan. Orders appear to emphasize shadowing and verbal warnings while avoiding kinetic engagement. Then a new element emerges. The USS Cincinnati, an Independence-class littoral combat ship, is detected on radar 32 nautical miles to the west, moving to provide distant support and complicate any Chinese encirclement attempt. The presence of a second U.S. warship alters the geometry. The Chinese destroyer transmits a brief signal, possibly requesting reinforcement. Whether additional PLA Navy units are en route remains unclear. The Cincinnati brings speed, up to 40+ knots, and agility to the theater. Sensor fusion between the 2 American ships occurs via Link 16 data link, providing shared situational awareness. The dispersed posture dilutes Chinese attention and strengthens deterrence without provocative concentration of force. On board the Cincinnati, the commanding officer coordinates posture with Higgins. Both captains understand that splitting forces could be exploited, yet concentration invites a larger target set. The calculus remains delicate. Fresh imagery shows the Chinese Coast Guard cutter previously involved in the ramming incident near 2nd Thomas Shoal. It is now observed moving slowly away from that area, with visible bow damage. Whether coincidental or indicative of resource strain is unknown. The turning point. The Higgins reaches its closest point of approach 10.9 nautical miles from the nearest drying reef of Scarborough Shoal. The shadowing destroyer maintains parallel course but does not cross ahead to block. Overhead, the fighters make one final distant pass before vectoring home. Final radio warning is broadcast. The Higgins completes its circuit and begins a steady withdrawal to the southeast. The moment of maximum risk passes without escalation. Rights of navigation have been exercised. No kinetic exchange has occurred. Both ships disengage cleanly. The Higgins proceeds to its next assigned tasking. Crew stands down from general quarters. Full after-action reports are transmitted. China's Ministry of National Defense issues a statement claiming its forces drove away the intruding vessel. The U.S. Navy releases a brief factual summary affirming lawful operations in international waters. No injuries or damage are reported on either side. The Philippines publicly condemns ongoing Chinese harassment in the region and reaffirms security cooperation with the United States. Incidents like this reinforce the credibility of U.S. freedom of navigation operations while exposing the limits of China's gray zone coercion. Deterrence functions because neither side seeks kinetic conflict. Yet the repeated testing of boundaries keeps escalation risk elevated. The encounter strengthens the practical application of the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty and encourages further joint presence operations. Long-term, sustained U.S. and allied naval activity in these waters prevents any single power from establishing effective de facto control over critical sea lanes. The balance remains fragile. Miscalculation is never far away. In contested waters, presence backed by discipline and restraint remains the most reliable guardian of peace.